Hello. In this video, we'll be reviewing how to update the SS or System Supervisor on a display. So to start this out, we're going to be, as with most of these videos, starting out at our support site. And if you go into product information, we're going to go to display computers. So here we're going to choose whatever display you specifically are using, but for this video I'm just going to use the VA display I have connected currently. So for me, I'm going to come into the VA display, and here we have the current software versions in production, and this should be, or we should have something similar for all the displays, but if not, you can see down below what is the latest version. But here we can see the latest version we have, at least in production, is 1020. And if we come down here, that's actually the only version available. In other displays, there may be multiple versions available. I would recommend that you choose the latest version, unless for some reason you want to not install the latest version and need a previous version. But I don't know why exactly that would be. So in this case, we're gonna click here and install it or download it. So I'm gonna select show in folder, and you can see here we have two files in this zip file. So a release notes where you can look at and see what has changed in this version of the SS. So you can see sort of our versions going up and in what was changed or addressed in each version. So I believe the reason that the other versions aren't posted is because these versions happened when the display was in prototype. So this is the first official version of it. Okay, and this is the file that we're going to need. So we're going to just go ahead and extract this anywhere. I'll just extract it to my downloads folder. Okay, so now I can see that here. And for this video, we're going to use Windows programs to help us out. We're going to use two of them, Putty and FileZilla. So I'm going to come in here and first go to FileZilla. So you can, as an alternate, you could put this in your virtual machine, get this file over to your virtual machine, and use SCP to copy it over to the display. That works. Or if you have another application available in Windows that you can use SCP with, that is also fine. Essentially what we're going to do is just bring this over to the display. If you're not familiar with FileZilla or not familiar with SCP in the virtual machine, there are videos on both applications. FileZilla is talked about in the Windows tools section of the video trainings, and SCP, I believe, is talked about in the Linux section. Okay, so we also, for this to work, are going to need a connection to our display. So I'm going to assume that you already know how to connect to the display via an IP address. If you don't, there are videos posted about how to assign your display either a static or dynamic IP address and how to connect to that depending on which one you choose. So for me, I'm using a program in Windows called DHCP, which allows my computer to act as a DHCP server, and I'm directly connected to the display. But there are multiple ways you can handle this. But my display IP address is 192.168.0.2. Username is root. Password is SUSE-root for the display, as always. And we're going to use port 22, which is the SSH port, and there we go. So on this side, we're in the display. So on my left side is my host computer, and on my right is the display. So I'm gonna look in downloads, and I can see the hex file that we extracted. And then on my display, I'm going to navigate to the root directory into opt, and I can see the files in my opt directory on the display. And all I'm going to do is just click and drag this file from my host computer into the display. Okay, so that's done. Now we're going to open up PuTTY and connect, oops, not what we wanted. Open up PuTTY, connect to the display via PuTTY. So I'm going to log in root and SUSE root again, and we come to the opt directory, and we can see the hex file that we passed in. So before we update anything, we can check in this video too. There are multiple ways you can update the SS. One of the maybe easier ways is you can use the default settings application that comes up on a display that was sent from our factory. So assuming you have not loaded a custom application onto the display, a default settings application will come up, and you can go into the settings and update the SS that way. In this case, we're going to update it through the CC Settings Console, which is a slightly different way, but has the same effect. So this is just an easy way to do it no matter what state your display is in. Okay, so we see this, and if we want to check the current versions that are installed on the display, we can type CC Settings Console -- version, and this will print out the versions of each of the main components on the display. So you'll notice my SS version is actually already updated to the latest 1020. So this won't really provide us an update, but it will show you how it's done. So, and I talk about the CC Settings Console and checking the versions in a different video. So if you are not familiar with that, you can go check out that video. Okay, so here we're going to type CC Settings Console and then list. And this will give us this advanced category. So this is what we're interested in, is this advanced option. And you'll notice one of the options is update the SS and give it a file path. So I can actually just say advanced here and then list. No, that's advanced help, I believe. There we go. All right, so this gives us the different options we have for advanced, this advanced option or keyword here. So what we are going to do is essentially use this, and we're going to update the SS and give it the file path of the name. We could force it, but in our case, we're not going to force it. So we're going to say CC Settings Console -- advanced -- update equals SS. Okay, and it gives you that here. And then we're going to say -- file path equals, and then we need to give it the file path name. So in our case, it is /opt and the name of the file that we transferred over. So the name of the file is there. So CCPilot. And unfortunately, you can't auto-complete this, so you just need to make sure it's typed correctly. So --SS, then v1.0.2.0 _ application .hex. So if you mistype it, it just won't find it and it'll tell you. But if you type it correctly, this should come up. So it should say file format is correct. This operation may cause harm to your device. Do you want to continue? So in our case, we're going to type yes, and it is going to start the process of updating the SS. So this should take a few minutes. You'll note a couple things. The display should not be in. So when we updated things like the OS, we needed to put the display in a backup operating system. When we update the SS and the front controller and other components, it should be in the main operating system, so not the backup. And since I'm talking about the front controller, actually updating the front controller is done in a very similar way. I'll make a separate video on that, but if you have a front controller on an X series display, the way to do it is almost exactly the same. But I will create a separate video. Okay, so it's flashed, done. It says the SS upgraded or successfully upgraded. So, and then it tells you please shut down the computer and cut the power in order for the changes to take effect. So you can either just pull power or issue the shutdown command to the display. So mine has shut down. I've removed power and now I've plugged it back in. So that is really it. You know, when the display boots back up, you should be able to log back in and then do the CC settings console version again, and you should see that the version has changed to whatever the update version is. So in this case, we can say CC settings console -- version. So for mine, it is still 1020 because I had the most up-to-date version installed before. But for instance, if you had 1000 installed and you updated to 1020, you should see that change reflected here. Okay, I think that ends this video, and hopefully you found it useful. Tune in for the other videos. Thank you.